Well, it's usually my internet, but tonight it appears to be StreamYard. I don't know what's going on. My intro wouldn't play. I couldn't hear anybody. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to your Monday Night Rabble here on the Rangers Rabble Podcast. And we've got four tonight. We've got a foursome tonight. Oh, see, there's another clip. Here we go. Calum, Mark, and Stewart. Mark, my friend, how you doing?
Too shabby at all. It's been a wee while. How's tricks? Are you all right? You good?
No, I was good, and then life. But apart from that, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. Calum, how you doing, mate?
I mate, living the dream. No, it was good being back at Ibrox yesterday for the game, getting excited for the season again, and all good being on with Stewart and Mark tonight. Interesting what you guys are saying and all the viewers and all that. So comments in, guys. You know.
Nothing Mark says is ever that interesting. So, I jest. And Stuart, what we're drinking tonight, is that a Coca-Cola, a Coke Zero? Right, well, Stuart's not got any volume, but I'm guessing that's a Coke Zero. Right, while Stuart tries to... Yes, we can hear you now, Stuart. There we go.
Coke Zero. That's it.
Coke Zero.
And it's good for a time of year because it's got bro written across the middle. So there you go. And you leave Marcus alone. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's all right. I'm on the Iron Brew Extra. So, there we go. Yes. Mark, did you get a chance? Were you working? Did you get a chance to see any of the pre-season friendly? Oh, see now Mark's on mute. It's just all going wrong.
It's catching schoolboy error. No, I was working, but I did manage to catch bits and bobs after it and extended highlights and bits and bobs. So I done a bit of snooping about because I really, really, really wanted to watch it, but just we're mad busy at the moment out here. So I seen bits and bobs, but I seen enough to kind of give you my opinion.
What's your opinion?
I think it was all right. I think that generally these things are really for fitness. I think that the booze at halftime, I think that's just madness. Pre-season friendly, first pre-season friendly. These boys have been running for a week and a half solid, and by all accounts, Russell Martin's been running them pretty hard. So listen, I've seen a lot of bits and bobs that I liked. I think probably young Curtis, a bit of shining light. I think Barami as well looked as if he's up for a fight. He's up to fight for a place and stuff like that. So I think the young boy Aaron's done not bad for what I've seen. And the biggest man in the world at centre half looked all right as well. I think that he's a bit of raw talent and stuff like that. But I think that he's very much built for the Scottish game. I think that he'll be getting flung in league games against big ugly centre forwards, and I think we'll try and play some cultured centre backs for the European games.
Has anybody seen the pictures they've made of Fernandez next to Yilmaz? Has anybody seen the pictures? It makes me feel tall seeing the pictures. It really does. Absolutely brilliant. Calum, talk to me a little bit about Bayrami, because we had this. Me and Brian had this conversation in the afternoon rabble as well. It almost felt as though, and again, I will repeat myself quite a lot, it's a pre-season friendly, right? So whether you were really good or really bad, take it with a massive, massive pinch of salt, right? But it looked like he was trying, Cal.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think Dowell and all that in the first half offered absolutely nothing. I think Bayrami coming on, done great for the assist for the first goal. He done absolutely fantastic. He was offering a lot more than the front three were in the first half, Now, does he have a future with Rangers? I think you've signed that boy, Taylor Asgard. He's probably going to play in that position, So does Bayrami fit into Russell Martin's plans? I'm not sure. I don't think he set the world alight. I thought he done pretty okay without really being amazing. I don't know if I can see him sticking around necessarily, but I thought he done good for a pre-season friendly. He certainly improved this in the second half a bit, and he done fantastic for the assist yesterday.
Oh, Stuart is vehemently shaking that head.
I mean, I totally agree with Marcus. This is ridiculous what folk are saying about, and Callum just said it there. He done things without being amazing. No, they've just been flogged to death for a fortnight. They've got nothing left in the tank. What do you expect the guys to do? Plus, this booing the team off. This is not the team that will start on, was it the 23rd of July, the first league game away to Motherwell. So I think, I know there were folk who could not wait for Russell Martin to fail, and that's the problem we've got. The boy was on a no-starter. But yes, I agree with Callum what you're saying there. About your boy Asgard coming in, he'll probably potentially play where Benrahma is. But yeah, to start flogging the guys to death after one kickabout is a bit ridiculous. Let's see what happens July the 23rd, then we can take it for seriousness. Just my opinion.
No. Listen, I have to agree with that, Mark. I have to agree with everything that Stuart said there, and a wee bit about what you said. The manager came out and specifically, I think he's come out and specifically said it to try and preempt the boos and preempt the fans going after that if we didn't win a pre-season game. And he says, I've ran these boys ragged. They will have very little left in the tank for the game.
No, yeah, and quite cleverly so. I think that he's very media savvy, but also you get a tinge of that he is quite honest. And I think he's quite he's quite protective of his players as well, which is something that I really, really like. I think it's quite refreshing after Clement, because Clement was forever trying to fling players under the bus, and with a wee stint of Barry doing a wee bit of that as well. So for me, it's nice to see a manager that's going to back his players and stick up for them. And I think that probably their comments, although they all say that they don't listen and they don't listen to medias and interviews and bits and bobs, I'm 100% sure they'll have wanted to listen to hear what he's said about them. And I think probably they'll be quite pleasantly surprised at the fact that they're getting backed so vehemently, even if it was the case that they were run ragged. So it's nice, as I said, it's refreshing, but listen, we're a long, long way to go, and to be perfectly honest, it's quite a brave pre-season friendly that to play your first game against a team of that calibre. So I think overall to come away with a 2-2 draw is a pretty good result. Very much so a game of two halves, but I don't think any of the two teams, I don't think there's any of us here that would have looked at any of the two teams and went, that looks like a decent side. So I think that was very much a have a look at what we've got under the kind of pressures of Ibrox. I think that there's a lot of them never done themselves much good. But I think as well, to be fair, in the second half, I think a few of them did maybe catch the eye of the new manager as well. So I think that what Martin said at the end, it was they learned an awful lot from it, which is something that probably we already knew. So I think that it's just a learning process, and you need to take these things with a pinch of salt. It very much is what it is with the fact that these pre-seasons are literally just to get minutes in their legs. That really all it is.
Yeah. Just to go off topic for a second, Callum, I don't know if you've all seen Billy Dodds, the clip that he done when he was on Radio Scotland, when he was talking about, it was like 70% of the players just didn't have what it took to make it at Rangers. What do you make he was always going to do it. Barry's been quiet since he left the job. Alan McGregor's always quiet, let's be honest. The first person I did expect to hear from, to be fair, was Billy Dodds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be honest, I think it echoes what most of us were saying. I think last season, particularly towards the end, we just could not kick a ball. I mean, so many home games in a row we didn't win. I think all the fans were saying most of those players aren't up for it. I'd probably echo what he was saying, but about probably 70% of those players towards the end of the last season did look like they chucked it. I think you maybe seen a wee bit of that in the first half especially. I think Leon King and Robin Proper, I think they should just be left behind, just weren't good enough for me, and they were just sort of reminders of last season. I think first half was a wee bit kind of like that. We just looked very open at times. No, it's only a friendly, obviously. You can't look into it too much, but I think, to be fair, second half, big improvement there. Actually, I think the boy Fernandes we were talking about, obviously, absolutely huge. I thought he looked quite good when he came on the second half. You know, he definitely impressed me a wee bit. I think you can see he's going to be a big physical guy. He's going to win everything. I think we need a wee bit of that. So, aye, no, but on Billy Dodds, ultimately, I'd agree with what he was saying. I think it did look like most of them have chucked it. And, you know, fair play for him coming out and saying it. Now, did the management team cover themselves in glory? Probably not. I mean, I didn't like when Barry was playing Eagleman left wing and all that, but aye, I mean, those players towards last season were pretty shocking, and you only had those tools to work with, didn't they? So I can't really complain with Billy Dodds coming out and saying what he did.
Is that in any way, Stuart, in any way, attempting to cover up the fact that they had such a poor record at home and went out of Europe to Bilbao? Are they trying to cover their record in any way, coming out and speaking about this, or are they simply just telling us, Stuart, what we already knew?
A bit of both, I think. I don't see. I'm not a great fan of washing your putting your washing your dirty laundry out in public. That's what I'm trying. No, yeah, put your dirty laundry out in the public. Don't think that was needed done. It was also shown that what was it he said, that 30% of the team carried 70% of the team. Well, guess what, Billy and Barry, you played that 70%, and it showed yesterday. I'm not taking that. Oh well, who else was he going to play? We got shown yesterday that we could have brought on Young Hutton, Gentles, Rice, wee Curtis. There's 5 that would have given you more effort probably than the 70% that you're saying got carried. Again, no a great fan of coming in and start slating stuff. They then mentioned Eggman. Why? No, the boy can't talk English, but Billy Dodds tried to defend his own record when he scored for Rangers and how he played for us. Yeah, he left a sour taste in my mouth, I think, with that. Just one wee thing, just one wee thing, if you don't mind. Way back up there, we were talking about myself and Mark was talking about the players getting slaughtered and beasted and etc. and lying flat out in your back. And then Dado Brewboot says, "Try joining the army. They'll tell you what it's like."
I knew you were going to see that comment.
28 years, nearly 30 years I did it for Dado, and trust me, it's not like that every day of the week. Not like that every day of the week at all.
As soon as I seen that comment, I wasn't bringing it up because I thought Stuart's going to give a 45-minute lesson in what exactly went on in the army.
No, that's not allowed, mate. No, I'm still sworn on the secrecy, but never mind. Yeah. But yeah, I think Billy Dodds, you've had your day, mate. Away you go.
Yeah. Can I just quickly say as well, London lad, hit that like button, folks. Good enough to tune in, so help the channel grow. Every like helps. It absolutely does. And can I just say hello to the over 700 people watching right now? If you all hit the like button, you're really, really helping out the show. I've got no idea what went on my mark there, but it sounded as though the rig was in trouble.
Hear that?
Yes, that was almost a battle stations at ready type situation going on there. I mean, look, I take it on board. Look, Mark, though, he's saying Billy Dodds 100% right. The attitudes were shocking last season. Calum Pioneer saying Billy Dodds is bang on the money with that assessment. Totally unprofessional from Billy, even though it's true. Calum.
I don't know. Maybe it's not the most professional. I mean, it's not like he was the manager. He was just a coach in the setup. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't really blame him for doing it. As I say, I sympathise with it. I think towards the end of last season's about as poor I've seen Rangers play ever. And I've basically only seen crap Rangers sides. You know what I mean? It was like, what was scary was we were losing all these games, especially at home, but we were deserving to lose them as well. Teams were coming to Ibrox and outplaying us. So, I don't really feel much sympathy to the players. I get, all right, is it maybe a bit unprofessional, throwing them under the bus, whatever? Maybe so, but at the end of the day, those players really let us down. And I think he's right that it was probably about 70% of them were absolutely mince, So, fair play. I don't think it's unprofessional at all. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but I don't bemoan them for doing it, to be honest.
Chris Sheridan has become a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Chris, for the support, my friend. I hope you enjoy all the content. And thank you for helping to support the show. And I don't like thanking this guy. Charles Dalrymple, super chat. Evening, troops. Evening, Charles. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for the super chat, though, in all seriousness. Right, let's talk a wee bit about transfers, and we can go back to the Bruges game, and we can go back over some individual players, etc., etc. Stuart, again, I said this in the afternoon, but I will preface this conversation by saying it again. Links, don't know how true. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, then I think you've probably got your 1 to 100 for this to be false, right? But Rangers linked to a Crystal Palace player whose name I tried to pronounce this morning, Jensen Sakai. That's what I'm going with, right? £10 million, Stuart. 10 million British pounds. My body's choking just at the thought of it. Is that a fee, Stuart, that Rangers are paying for one footballer?
Because I don't know any different, because I'm not a financial expert on Rangers, right? Unlike a few others across the city, I'm probably going to say I don't think so. However, if we listen back to the AGM, they did say, don't be surprised if we like a player and we have to spend double figures to get him, we'll pay it. Now, whether it's this guy from Crystal Palace or potentially whether it's the winger from Tel Aviv.
Aye, Brazilian boy.
He's there as well, looking for that kind of money. I'm led to believe what I've read. And then obviously, or could that be 10 million for him and Turgeman? Don't know. But for the it seems to be a lot in it, because is the Wolves boy quoted at £10 million?
Aye, that's right. I think he was bought for Red Star Belgrade for something like 10 million, mate. Aye, the boy in Jaga. That's right.
So we're not going to spend £30 million in 3 players. No. You'll probably find that if potentially, again, it's all, to me, like we saw with Joe Rothwell, when they come in the door, they come in the door. Yeah. So the clickbait stuff, don't get me wrong, we still with anticipation. I wake up every morning. First thing I do is Daily Record, The Sun, News of the World, also all sorts of stuff. Where are we? What we got? So potentially the Wolves boy probably on loan for a season and see where that goes from there. I don't think we will fall into that trap again of give us him for a season and we'll definitely buy him. Don't think we'll fall into that trap again. So potentially the boys for Wolves will bring him over on loan. The Crystal Palace boy, as I said, they did say if we need to go double figures, we'll do it. So if that's for the Crystal Palace boy, if that's for the boy in Tel Aviv, I just mentioned, Martin, or indeed is that Vardy's wages? No idea. But I'm sure when it happens, we'll be the first to know.
I can almost guarantee you don't wake up and have a look at the news of the world, because that's not a paper anymore.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just trying to get things flung out of me as if I was really that awake at stupid o'clock in the morning when I get about.
I got a fright because I thought Piers Morgan was back. I'm like that. No, it can't be. It can't be. But no, people are saying it in the comments, Calum, we spent $7.5 million on Kent. Why can we not spend an extra 2.5 now?
If it was that wisely spent.
Aye, well, I mean, especially if we sell Eager Man for the sort of fee that's been quoted, absolutely, why can't we not do that? I mean, what I just say, touching on kind of what Stuart was talking about there, I'd say I'm certainly pleased, and it seems like the calibre of players Rangers are going for has increased. This boy that he was talking about at Tel Aviv, I was kind of looking into him. He's like really highly rated, this guy. People talking double figures for him. This Brazilian kid. Obviously, Torgman, he's been in and around the Israeli team for years, done really well. Guys like Connor Cody, experienced Premier League players, Vardy. I like the kind of calibre people are going for. It seems like a good mix as well between young players with a bit of potential to sell on. You're getting the experience there too. Guys like Rothwell, maybe a Cody, a Vardy. So I'm impressed, mate, and that's why at Crystal Palace as well. You know, I've seen a few highlights of it. I know it's not the end of the world and all that, but it looks like a really good player. So no, I'm impressed with the calibre we're going for, and if we're able to get, you know, a good fee for Iguaman Dessers, there's no reason why we shouldn't. And I also think if you're going to spend big anywhere, it probably would be your attack, wouldn't it? Probably, well, maybe your defence, but I think out wide, that's what we need to strengthen, you know.
Yeah, but you're spending 10 million on a player who, as far as what I could see in the research anyway, has played 8 times in the Premier League and has had 2 loan spells, one at Charlton and one at Sheffield United. And he's, like I say, a handful of games for Crystal Palace. If you're spending, if a club like Rangers, Stewart, are spending big money, and again, I said this afternoon, right? But if a club like Rangers are spending big money, you almost have to look at every single variable to go, right, if we're spending that, it has to be in a player who we can almost, because you can't 100% guarantee that a player's going to be good. But by God, he's got to tick most of the boxes. And I think a player who has, a loan at Sheffield United, a loan at Charlton, is that a player that Rangers are going to go out and spend 10 million on?
When you break it beautifully down like that, Martin, right? There's no chance in planet Earth of we paying 10 million quid for that guy. No chance whatsoever. I'd be okay. I'm saying no chance whatsoever. Rein it back in, Stuart. I'd be very, very surprised.
Always a chance.
What's that?
There's always a chance.
Yeah, but as I say, I'll be very, very surprised then if we spend £10 million on the guy for Crystal Palace. But again, stranger things have happened with Ryan Kent for 7.5. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Be interesting, the 2 guys from Tel Aviv. If we brought the 2 of them in, that'd be interesting. Because seemingly the Brazilian boy there, he's supposed to be cooking. So he is. And even one of the ex-Celtic players, I smiled for the first time today when I came away from work. I actually smiled when I read his comments when he's saying about his team should lower his asking price because you end up with an unhappy player and blah blah. He goes, so if you want to lower your asking price to, I think he said it was some Italian team, I think, Gionola or something like that. But he never mentioned us once in the sentence because obviously he must be that good because he does not want him to come to Rangers. That was my take on it anyway. If that's worth anything.
Fair enough. Not really.
Really. Of course it's not. Absolutely not.
I mean, if Calum had said that, I'd have been like that. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 1,000%. But just because you said it's true.
Yeah, we'll go for that.
The
chat might say different. Go with me. No, you.
It's not worth the paper it's written on with an invisible pencil. Yeah.
Go for that. I like that.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Letters being.
Yeah, defensive wise, Callum. You're saying look, we're going to be spending a lot of money. It'll be on an attacker. The one thing that was shown at the weekend was that the only reason that Fernandes played was because we had little to no defence. If anything, to have steps back into that kind of centre back berth. What do you think about Tav at centre back? And so again, this is a really tricky question because it is a pre-season friendly, and I'm going to preface everything so that I don't get any stick in the comments. They get run into the ground. It's the first game back. Blah blah blah. Did you see anything for Tav playing centre back against Bruges where you thought, oh yeah, okay, I'm happy with that?
I'd say I definitely did, but you got to put it in context that you had Robin Proper, Leon King there first half. I mean, those guys were absolutely immense. I'm sorry. I know what Stuart's saying about, they've been run ragged, a lot of training and all that, but for me, Robin Proper especially, I don't know why we're persisting with this guy. I think, the only reason he's played that game is probably
necessity.
A lot of players still to come back, not signed many players yet, but I'd just be getting rid of him straight away. So I think compared to them in the first half, he looked a lot better. Like, they didn't trouble us very much in the second half, whereas the first half, we were totally open. You know what I mean? I think even towards the back end of last season, Tavernier looked no bad in that position, to be fair. So if we are going to keep him, It's clear Max Aarons will play off the right. I'd maybe be happy to see him in and around that centre-half role. I'd also be looking forward to see Suter when he comes back, how he plays in the Russell Martin team, because, he's quite good with the ball at his feet. He can play a pass and all that. And he's a good big defender when he stays fit. So I wonder if that would maybe impact the defence. And as I say, very early days, but I thought the boy for, was it Peterborough, Fernandez, very decent debut, look good, look like he's going to win a lot of his duels and all that. So, I'll be interested to see how it goes. But Tab centre-half, I think, is nailed on. I mean, Max Aarons is there to play, so he'll be a right-back, I think.
Mark, you rejoin us. Is everything okay, mate?
Yes, it's we're just usual work on our rig. You come on a pod, next minute you have a general alarm, everybody's to muster, fun and games. But everything's all right.
Tab at centre-back, Mark. Are you having it?
It was a spurious alarm.
A spurious alarm. Away you go, your big words. Are you having Tab at centre-back, Mark?
Do you know what? I think he done all right, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that he looks far better at centre-half than he does at right back. So, and I think that he very much fits into that kind of mould and that kind of ball playing centre half that Russell Martin likes. But for me, the one thing over the last 10 years that Tav has always been caught out with is a big ball over the top to the back post. How many times and how many goals have we lost from that? So for me, unless somebody's going to work with him on his defending cross balls, then. But apart from that, I think when we've got the ball, we're in possession. I think he's absolutely perfect for that role. If it's a foot race, maybe not. But for me, the biggest weakness he's got, and even as a right back, was trying to defend the back post and judging the flight of balls. Because the amount of times that the balls went over his head, he's misjudged it, and we've conceded a goal from it. Ridiculous over the last 10 years. But as I said, I think that the way we're going to play, I think suits Martin's philosophy in football. I think it suits the way he wants to play, or wants his centre halves to play. And let's face it, he's a great passer of the ball. So I think that could be his new position moving forward. But is he going to get in there before Suter or Cody or this other big boy that we're just about to sign? I don't think so. But there's an option there as far as I'm concerned. So I would definitely keep him around for that very, very reason.
Well, Liam Keane, who is the Wolves correspondent for the Express and Star, has said that the move is agreed and set to go through, and that is, of course, for Wolves defender Nasir Jigga, with a loan, no option to buy and all that stuff. It's just a straight loan and he'll go back to Wolves at the end of the season. But apparently it's all signed, sealed and delivered, just waiting on announcements for Nasir Jigga. Mark, do you know anything about this boy? Or
I really don't. He's generally you can find bits and bobs about any player, but I've struggled. I've tried my best to try and find out the best I can. He's kind of dotted about a wee bit, but it looks of things, and he's not really settled at one place. In Holland, he's meant to have done okay in Holland. Played a few games there, but after that, he's a wee bit nomadic. Listen, it can't have been any worse than what we've had. It can't have been any worse than Proper. It can't have been any worse than Davies. For me, he's a big lad. He's 6'4" by all accounts. And listen, they don't fling 10 million at centre halves for no apparent reason. So different if he's a 2 million or
Mark,
3 million.
Mark, they flung how much at Fabio Silva?
Well, yeah. All right. Listen, you go for there. Listen, I'll just shut up and you can pass. You can ask somebody else a question.
Say they paid a lot of money for Fabio Silva.
Well, no, that's true. But in all seriousness, I don't know why this. I mean, imagine if we'd paid 10 million for a player and then just popped him out on loan. We'd be absolutely fizzing. But it just shows you the disparity in the numbers between us and the Premier League. It's just madness. But listen, as I said again, right back to my original statement, it can't be any worse than what we've got. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah. And Kevin Wilson's asking, Stuart, why are we still getting players on loan, prefer to buy players? Well, even though we're talking about, possibly, regardless of what the percentage chances are, possibly spending 10 million on the one player, you can't fix a full team in the one transfer window. And you need to be and this is just my opinion, Stuart, you need to be very, very cautious about who you're bringing in. They need to be the right players for you. And the ones who you maybe try to get in and don't can be covered with loans, because even if a loan player comes in and doesn't do well, he's going back to his club. At the end of the day, unless you don't win leagues and win cups, no harm done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always a place for a loanee or two. Totally agree with that. And also, then you can mix it up with the only gripe about loan players if we're taking somebody else's academy players, right? Because we've got enough academy players that was shown yesterday that we can slot them in myself. But the big fella from Wales, if he can head the ball. When I looked at Big Fernandes yesterday, when he got up to head of the ball clear from his own penalty box, it went about 20 metres. So that's clearing the danger away from your lines. And if the big Wolves boy comes in and he can do the same, we're hearing different things about Cody. Is he coming? Is he no coming? It's on, it's off, whatever. And then as long as I'm not a great fan of my centre halves playing football. Don't care. Defend first. And going to the part about, if you don't mind me answering it about Tav, potentially at a last resort, Tav goes into centre back if, for talking sake, there's an injury or something. I am not for that good old saying. I kept saying it all last season. Putting round pegs into square holes and stuff doesn't work for me. And I thought this season I don't want to see it anymore. If Tav cannot play at right back, well, he doesn't play. If he plays at right back, fine. But yeah, let's get two solid, physical, strong, intimidating centre halves. So the game's almost won in the tunnel. But you look at them and go, the size of the two big boys. That helps.
That's clearly, Stuart. That's the way that's what Russell Martin's seen right away. He's come in and he's went, I'm bringing height into this team. And
Yes.
he's doing that. He's doing that bit by bit. I mean, all right, there's been some doctored pictures out there, right, just to make Fernandes look that tiny wee bit bigger. But like Rothwell's apparently 6'1".
Yeah.
Asgard's over 6 foot. Obviously Fernandes is 17'5". Cody's over 6 foot. Jigger's over 6 foot. It's clearly something, and please don't you try and say that word, Stuart, that name. But yeah, he's looked at it and he's thought, no, we need height. And as Shona says there, height and physicality.
But the sad thing is, Shona and everyone else, we've got all that height, and we saw yesterday the corners still can't clear the first defender.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, we'll go for that. But should be interesting, as I said. I think Walter Smith, when he came back, that's what he done. When he got physicality in the back. You might need that to get you through the night, Martin.
No, it's for this comment, Ian White. I'm right at the start of the stream. All this soft drinks talk, I hope I see everyone with a Red Bull can when the sponsorship's finally happening. So when he gets to this part of the show, because he's about half an hour behind, he'll just see a wee can of Red Bull and he'll know that I've seen his comment. So there we go.
Yeah, so but I think your boy Rothwell could take set pieces, because clearly Rice can't, because he was taking the corners on one side of the pitch. You never bet the first man. Tam was as normal with his corners. So be interesting. If we've got that height, when it's our turn to go up for corners and dangerous free kicks, let's make them count. At least try and hit the head. Or give the boys something to go and attack.
Right. I apologise for this right away. We're going to deviate for 2 minutes because I've got a question, right? Now, I don't know if Callum will be able to answer this, but I will certainly put it to him anyway, right? But I'll start with Mark, and Callum, just give me a nod or a shake if you can't answer the question, right? And you'll know why in a second, right? But Mark and Stewart definitely can. Who was better value for Rangers? Ryan Kent or Torrey Andrew Flo? Who was better value for money? Mark.
For me, Ryan Kent, and
Do you think so?
purely for excitement value, for value for money. For me, as a fan watching, I'd rather watch Ryan Kent than watch Torrey Andrew Flo. Simple as that. And that's my only reason. I mean, none of them probably done what we wanted them to do. But for me, Ryan Kent was far better to watch. More exciting, more dynamic. So for me, that's my only reason to say the two of them probably definitely never set the header on fire. But listen, Kent on his day was unbeatable.
Flo scored a lot of goals.
He did a lot of goals, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. As I said, for me,
Mark's trying to cover his answer now. Look, he's trying. He's like,
no. But for me, Flo was brought in, and we played him like a target man, and Flo was never a target man. But back to my original point, I think that value for money, for me, watching football, I'd rather watch Ryan Kent and Torrey Andrew Flo. Simple as that.
Sure.
Flo.
Mm-hmm. That's how I would go as well.
Yeah. That's all I've got to say. Flo. Because you can't really compare them, two different type of players, as Marcus said, but goals per game ratio all day long. And if we can bring in...
According to Gallant, it's a stupid question.
Well,
maybe that's what he's getting at.
Come in there. Ryan Kent wasn't the body. He scored goals. He's a winger. Wingers are meant to chip in with goals, but they're meant to create.
Okay.
So two different
and
players.
Did you get enough value for money out of Ryan Kent from his creative side compared to the value for money you got out of Flo for the goal scoring side?
Now we're trying to split hairs here.
No. It's just saying.
For me, like I said, for European customer, right? And I'm talking about value for money, right? That's fair dues because he scored goals, right? But if you want to go and watch football, if you're a football fan and you want to go and watch football, and you're going, oh, I can't wait to go and see Torrey Andrew Flo. Did Torrey Andrew Flo get you an edge of your seat? Ever?
When he's going to get
he got a lot of people off their seat when he scored goals.
All right, you're fucking
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Yeah. All I'm saying is, for me, I find that an exciting winger, somebody that's going to take a man on, beat a player, far more exciting than somebody that's just going to turn and put a ball in a pocket. And I know that that's the name of the game. So before everybody goes daft in the comments, understand that. But I'm just looking at it as a fan. You're going to watch, and you're talking about value for money. If you're talking about goals for money, that's different. It's a different question. But value for money, i.e., I'm a paying customer. So you're talking about value for money, no goals for money. So you're talking goals for money, Torrey Andrew Flo wins it every day of the week. As somebody said, every day of the week, twice on a Sunday.
I'll say three things, if you don't mind, Martin, because...
Depends on what they are.
No, we're fine. Remember Ryan Kent for three occasions, right? Yes, A, his game against Dortmund where he was on fire. 2, his pretend Superman punch on Scott Brown. And 3, his miss in the dying seconds in the Europa Cup final. That's it. That one at the end there, the Europa Cup final one, is it. After that, he never kicked a ball for us. So yeah, that's what I think.
Well, apologies, Ross Clark. That's where I seen it. I know I seen it in the comments, and I wasn't sure if it was a question or just a statement. But I seen it and I took it and I rolled with it. I shouldn't even be admitting that I seen it. I should just be thinking it was my own idea. But Callum, have you got anything to weigh in on this?
I was just going to say, one thing that really annoyed me about Ryan Kent, I remember it was Alan McGregor's testimonial, and I think all the players were nice, they were wearing suits and all that, and Ryan Kent showed him this hoodie, and I was like, mate, that really annoyed me, and I totally agree with what Mark was saying. Some of his games, he was one of the best wingers I've ever seen at the club, like Dortmund. Oh my gosh, some of those European games, absolutely unplayable. But I think you also forget how bad he was towards the end at points. You know, a lot of games he was just down in tools and he was just absolutely crap to watch. And his numbers were really, I know what you're saying about, you know, a winger, they aren't there to bang the goals in, but they really were quite poor towards the end. You were talking like 3 goals, 2 assists a season and all that, you know what I mean? So he was a great player on his day. He was a great player to watch. I'd agree with that. But I don't think he had a great attitude at times. Never really lived up to the potential for me. What I was going to ask about Tore Andre Flo. Is he still the record we've ever played for a player? It was like 13 million or something, isn't it?
12 million.
He wasn't even there that long either, was he? It was like 2 years or something.
2.5 seasons, 2 seasons, 2.5.
The only thing I know about him is everyone says he's one of those who's kind of become so. People say he wasn't worth the money, but people always point out as well he did have a good goal record. Like one of these was almost so
1 and 2.
over.
1 and 2.
People always assume he was a flop, but as people always point out, like his goal record was actually quite good. I just hear that about him all the time. He's pretty good at like Chelsea.
I think, but you also, just to back up Mark a wee bit, you also have to reflect on when that £12 million was paid, and what would £12 million then be now, considering what we paid for Ryan Kent. So, like, what year did we buy Flo? Was it 2001, 2000? Anybody remember the year we bought Flo?
That whole period of my life was a blur, Martin. No idea.
Yeah, well, I know. I know that, Mark. I've heard some stories. But if you consider, just say it was 2001, 2002, what's 12 million then now? You're talking 20, 22 million or something like that. So you need to put it into context. So what I will say is, some of the answers that have come in, Flo was better value than Ryan Kent ever was, which was exactly the point Ross was making, which is where I got it from. Flo, you're seeing that? Something's happening here, Mark. Flo, Ryan Flo, Big Flo.
All right, we get a picture, Mark. We get a picture, eh?
Hold on, one more. Flo's goal ratio was good. One more. Flo every day and twice on a Sunday.
That's the one I seen.
Right. Well, we do have 1 point in for Kevin, which is a super chat. Thank you very much, channel member as well. I believe it's a sponsorship member as well, Kevin. Kent during the 2022 Europa League, especially away to Dortmund. Wow. Yeah, 100%. We mentioned that earlier. Mark mentioned that. Stewart mentioned that. I was at that game, and boy, was he unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Kevin, my friend, thank you very much for the support. Right. Something else is...
Sorry, Mark.
Oh, no, Stuart's on it.
No, this is a good point, believe it or not, right? even if I say so myself, if you think back to Flo and when we signed him, right? We actually signed him in the month of November, right? Just think if we can do that now instead of this
hold on. No, Stuart, stop. You can remember what month we signed them, but you can't remember what year we signed them. Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Do you want the day we signed them? The 17th of November or something? No, let's not go that far. Right, let's go that. Let's not go.
He's like happy.
He's actually figured out how to use Google. He's after 75 years on this earth, he's figured out how to use Google.
He's got somebody else to Google it for him.
I was taking it to the extreme and saying the 17th of November, but I knew it was the month of November because that's when we started going.
You looked it up, Stuart, admit it, and we'll move on.
I don't look things up because I don't even know how to. There you go. I'm an old man. Oh, how close was it? 24th of November. There you go. He Googled it. The sniper Googled it. There.
Sniper knew. I know the sniper personally. He knew. That's all I'm saying. Sniper knew.
Aye, that's it. And he said at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There you go. I've started something.
My best pals back in the super chats, Mark. Mark, stop. Martin's the only fanny here.
I said, I've not been on the ages. I've caused havoc already, innit? Brilliant. That was the only reason you brought me back, wasn't it? Just to cause havoc.
Yes, just to absolutely ruin everything. Absolutely ruin everything. So thank you, Charles and Kevin, for the super chats, and Smudge as well. The starting lineup at Motherwell away will be very different from yesterday. All I could think of, really, we are only at the very beginning, and that's something that we have to remember as well, Cal.
100%. I mean, you were thinking with that team yesterday as well. You know, you didn't have Egan Man there, you didn't have Dessers there, obviously no Rothwell, no Asgard. So, I mean, this like doing a half time and people going way over the top. I don't get that at all. I mean, as Smudge is saying, it's going to be such a different team from the one we're seeing. I mean, I'm pretty sure he said after the game, or after we signed Asgard, I think it was, we're still in for 3 wingers. You know, there's going to be a lot more business and a lot of players are going to go. So, 100% it'll be completely different. It's very difficult to judge on that team we've seen yesterday. What I would say they need to take for it is the players that need to go. I think guys like McCausland, Proper, Leon King, a lot of these guys just think like Dowell. I mean, how bad was Dowell yesterday, man? I mean, has that guy ever kicked the ball for Rangers? Just get rid of him. Guys like Matondo too. I think the big thing I'm taking for yesterday is, we're not going to see that team, but a lot of work needs to be done, especially on outgoings in particular. I mean, it's really good now that we are seeing it really, speed up in the transfer window. We're looking to sign a lot of players, but I think that's what I want to see more of now. Let's get rid of a lot of this deadwood, cut the squad a wee bit, get players off the wage bill, and, really see what happens in the coming weeks when he starts to get a few players in. But yeah, it's going to be completely different. I think even going to Panathinaikos, that'll be a totally different starting lineup,
Oh yeah, 100% it will. You know how you see, and by the way, Smudge, thank you so much for the support, my friend, a constant supporter of the channel, and the man responsible for the Rabble flag as well. So thank you very much, Smudge. You see on Sky Sports sometimes they show the kind of EFL classic games that are if you're sitting bored at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night or something, which you wouldn't be because you'd be watching the members show, right? But if you weren't, and I think it was Sheffield United against Aston Villa or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But Kieran Dowell was playing. That's not the same player we've got. Because I watched him in that game. And by the way, what a player he was. What an absolute player he was. That is not the same Kieran. I don't know what's happened to that boy. But that is not the same player that we got. But I have to ask, Callum, sticking with you. And then, guys, feel free to jump in on this. More rumours, right? And you know how much I love a good rumour, Callum, right? Yanis Hagi. Talk of him saying, Rangers, I'll come back. You don't need to pay me as much money, but I'll come back. I'll come back. I'll come back. Is that a player you would have back at the club, Callum? And I think this answer depends on your age, by the way. And I'm not just bringing that up. I genuinely think it does.
All right. Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, the reason why I'd say is you're going back to a player where Hagi was brilliant in spells. I remember when he first came in, sort of the January time, I think it was 2020. He really set a spark in that team. I mind he scored a blinder a volley against Hibs, and he had that famous Braga game where they completely come back, the 2 goals. And to be fair, he had a good season when we won the title too. Scored a lot of big goals, quite a few big winners and 1-0 games and all that. But, for the most part, it just didn't really work out for him. A lot of that was to do with injury. I mind he was loaned out for a season and all, but I just think most of the time when you're going back with a player like that, it doesn't tend to work out. And I think especially if you got boys like Asgard in there, he's quite a young boy too. And you'd think you'd want to play him probably in Hagi's position, get him the game time and all that. And especially if you're keeping guys like Bayrami, I don't really see where Hagi's going to fit in. So I think that's kind of paper talk for me personally. It's a no for me and Hagi. I like him a lot as a guy. Seemed like a great guy. I think he really loved being here, and I wouldn't question his attitude, but didn't work out for him too much at Rangers, so I wouldn't take him back just based on that,
Well, I was totally wrong about the age thing then, because I've seen mostly young people saying, yep, I absolutely want him back, and the more of the older guys saying, no, I don't want him back. Mark, where do you stand on it?
No, I think that ship sailed. I really, really liked him. I liked him like Cam said there. He's a nice guy. He's very, very likeable. I think he got the club, but I think when you look at what we're signing and what we're linked to and stuff like that, there's 2 words that probably spring to my mind, and it's pace and power. and I don't think Hagi's got any of the two of them. I think he's very cultured. I think he's a great passer of the ball. I think he can see a pass. I think he's talented, but I don't see him fitting into the Russell Martin style of play. I really don't. I think that ship sailed. I think that I'd like to think that we're moving forward. We're kind of a class above now, which is not a very nice thing to say because, as I said, I liked him as a player. I think he's very, very talented. Still don't know whether he's left-footed or right-footed. But for me, as I said, I don't think he's got the legs, all the pace, all the strength. I think we're looking at very much athletes at the moment. I think that we're looking at athletes that can play football rather than, and for me, that's very much a kind of almost like a Premier League type of way we're heading down that way because they're all big 6 foot, strong, powerful, quick players. So, and I think that's what Martin's looking for. To be fair, I think probably Fairwell's that's his mindset as well.
And Purdy as well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I think that's and Hagi, I'm sorry, but just doesn't fit into that mould. I'm simple as that. Whether you like him, you don't like him. I think you bring him. I mean, you're only bringing him back if he's going to be a bit part player anyway. He's not going to come in, and I don't think he's going to affect the first team. So, for me, it's a no.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, I echo everything Mark's just said, and the biggest thing for me is the physicality thing, right? And it's that if we're led to believe the way that Russell Martin's going to play, it's going to be you press for the front, and then everybody presses, right? And you win the ball back as fast as you can. That's not Hagi's game, Stuart.
It's not Hagi's game, and I'm quite glad it's not Hagi's game because I don't want him back. With Hagi, you're looking at it's like falling out with your best pal when you're a wee boy, and you go way up the road. Then you think to yourself, I've got nobody to play with now. I better go and knock on my best pal's door that I just fell out with. And this is what the feeling of nobody wants him. His dad touted him everywhere. That never got him anywhere. And now he's gone, I'll come and play for less money for years. Well, what he really means is I'll come back with years and I'll get injured and I'll sit in the treatment room and then you can be stupid enough to pay me wages. So nah, it's a no for me, I'm afraid.
I think it's a no for most, to be fair. And Ian Mitchell with a massive super chat. Thank you very much, Ian. Hagi will always be welcome at Ibrox, but time to move on. I always did like Hagi, though. I mean, Calum, he was a good player. I don't think nobody can deny that he was a good player. But looking back on it now with a wee bit of hindsight, was he good enough for us?
I think probably not, I think he started well and that built a lot of expectation on him. I think especially given just how good the guy's dad was, and there was a lot of talk about him just as a player, but probably not in the long term. A wee bit like Ryan Kent for me in that sense. A wee bit like Ryan Kent where he had that great first season. We paid big money for him. And he gave us a lot of great moments like Hagi did, but ultimately I don't think he really seen his potential at Rangers. Once again, a lot of that's not his fault. He was injured a lot of the time. I think, I can see a lot of the comments slagging him off as well. And, there is some truth to that as well. I think, like Mark was saying, lacks a bit of physicality for me, Hagi. I thought he at times a very creative player. He could get you a lot of assists, could get you a good goal from time to time. And when he was in form, he was very good to watch. But did he live up to it for me, Martin? Looking back on it in totality, I think a lot of good moments, but he never really made a good, consistent run at it. And that's the main reason why I wouldn't take him back,
I mean, I think that's probably fair enough. Ian, thank you very much for the support, my friend. Thank you very much for the super chat. And Dean Leffam, now this is interesting. This could take us well over the hour mark, right? And that was our mark, not our mark, right? Just so you're aware. Thank you very much for the support, Dean. Do you agree the manager is coming across really well after the initial negative feeling about appointing him? He speaks very well, Stuart. Do we see more people warming up to Martin? And by the way, do we see it, right? And should people now warm up to Martin? Because at the end of the day, he's the manager, and that's for the foreseeable anyway. That's not going to change.
Yeah, and I'll slate myself here because I'm an honest guy and I'll put my hands up. If you remember the rant I had a couple of months ago when I said that
You would need to be more specific, Stuart.
What?
You would need to be more specific. You have that many rants.
Well, the good one about Russell Martin, when I said you're getting actually nowhere near my team, you Tim Pot manager, blah blah. Remember, but he's won me over of how he comes across. He comes across well. He talks well. I like what I see within the training videos on RTV. That comes across well. My only thing on Sunday was the crowd booing the team at half time, or were they booing Russell Martin? And I think, as I said at the very start of the show, that's the ones that they're just waiting for him to fall on his sword as it is. But for myself, yes, I have warmed to him very, very much. And I want him to be an absolute success. It means what we're a success. And remember what I said in the chat, August the 31st, we'll be 5 points clear at the top of the league, and he will be manager in a month.
Well, that's getting clipped. That's getting
clip away. Yeah. Yep, everywhere. Aye.
But you can say that. You don't have social media.
Well, I know, but everybody sends me stuff. Go, look at that, look at that, look at that. And I just forward it onto the planet Earth.
Stuart just does what he can to get this podcast clipped, because he goes, I can just sit back in my living room, put on Emmerdale, and I'm away. There we go. Mark, your thoughts?
For me, I think when they all come in, they all speak well. Every single manager. I've never thought with a opening month or so of any Rangers manager, he doesn't speak well. He sounds like a clown. So listen, this is how they get the job, because they're good at speaking. They're good at interviewing. Simple as that. If you want to be very good at speaking and you want to be very good at interviews, then you would get the job. So fundamentally, for me, I was the same. I was not very overly impressed. I was underwhelmed by the appointment. I think that for me, I was looking for something a bit more razzmatazz. I think probably most of us were. But he's here. I'm going to back him because we have to. It's as simple as that. He's now a Rangers man. So it doesn't matter what it is. We forget everything that's went in the past, and we need to back this man. But for me, as I said, this warming and giving him this and that, what matters is what he does the first 4 or 5 opening games of that season. And I'm not going to judge him on how good he speaks. I'm going to judge him on how good his team plays on the park. I think that he's been helped by the kind of fact that we've looked as if we've brought a few decent players in. But that's not been down to Martin. That's been down to Thirlwell. And the problem is that Thirlwell's brought these players in. Russell Martin's not brought these in. These have been worked on for months. So he's obviously living off of the back of Thirlwell doing well and bringing players in that we think are going to do well. Same again. These players will be judged first 4 or 5 games of the season. So for me,
first game of the season, Mark. First game.
Well, but I you know me, I'll give them a wee bit of the benefit of the doubt. 90% of Rangers fans will not, but as I said, that's where bread and butter. We need to hit the ground running. Whether he speaks well or no is irrelevant to me whatsoever. What happens in the park's what matters. And as I said, all these great videos that are all getting cut, you can cut things to make them look good. Christ, we can cut this podcast to make us look good.
Well, I've tried my best. It's impossible.
I know it's very difficult, but listen, there's somebody somewhere can. But as I said, back to the original point again. For me, yes, he speaks well. I think they all speak well as they come in. I thought the Clement spoke well. I was quite impressed with him. He sounded quite kind of firm and a wee bit of an aura about him. We all said that. All of a sudden, that went downhill very, very quickly as soon as the pressure started getting to him. So you're not going to know Russell Martin until he gets a bit of pressure. And one thing's for absolutely sure, at Rangers, you're going to get pressure. So that determines the man. And that ultimately is going to be who he is. And we'll see it soon enough, as I said, first 4 or 5 games of that season.
Yeah. Razzmatazz. I think you can get a cream for that. But that's posh words in the show.
I've got it. There you are.
but not Mark. Knowing your past, there's not much you haven't had. Let's be honest. Right, we're on 200 likes, which, as Ross in the comments has said, for a Monday is phenomenal. Right, we've still got over 540 people watching just on YouTube alone. Right, I'm going to ask one more question, and I want to see if it's possible. And I'm going full Calum here with the hands, right? Big fish, little fish, cardboard box, and all that. I want to see if it's possible for when the 3 guys or 2 guys or however many guys answer this question, if we can get 100 likes. I don't think it is actually possible on any YouTube channel, right? So in the next 5 minutes, because that's all we've got left, if we can get 100 likes in those 5 minutes, then this is officially the greatest YouTube channel of all time, right? So let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can do it before the time runs out. And the final thing I wanted to put to you, and Callum, I'll start with you, is from my very own Wolf. 7 to 8 likes away. Come on, we can do this. Come on, hit that like button. Do we read anything into Barron being captain yesterday, despite Raskin starting, Callum?
I thought it was a bit of an eyebrow raiser, to be honest. I was expecting Raskin was probably going to be your captain. Yeah, surprised me a wee bit. I mean, I think Barron, he's done all right since he's come in. I've always thought he's got a lot to offer physically. I think he runs around like a madman and he offers plenty of energy. And, you can't question the boy's effort. I just think technically he's a wee bit lacking. The passing, the shooting, I think could definitely be worked on. Yeah, I found it strange. I mean, they say in football these days, the captain doesn't really mean as much. So maybe he was just giving him it to try it, and it isn't really anything we should look so much into. But no, definitely did surprise me. I think most of the fans kind of assume Raskin's going to take over for Tav as captain. And yeah, I mean, Barron didn't really strike me as a kind of a big leader in the dressing room type thing. So I'm really not sure what you make of it. It was interesting. I don't think either him or Raskin really set the hair alight in the first half yesterday, performance-wise. So yeah, it's a strange one. I'd be kind of surprised if we see it going forward. It just doesn't strike me as the natural sort of captain in there. Interesting choice for the manager, but I assume it's probably just a friendly. He's just getting him it to show. I wouldn't expect him to be captain going into this season, definitely, especially with Tab around,
Excuse me, just before Stuart comes in, humongous super chat by Ian Mitchell. Thank you very much, my friend. Superb. Not been able to watch live for a bit, first for a wee while. Martin, you do a smashing job. Most would disagree, Ian, but thank you very much. Get to more than 100 likes. So we've got Stuart to answer next, and then Mark. And we need 53 likes.
Right.
So, 53 likes. So, Stuart, and by the way, Ian, thank you so much, my friend. That is absolutely incredible support. Thank you. Stuart, Raskin captain or Barron? What's your thoughts on it being Barron?
Not Barron. And I'm saying that very, very openly. I'm saying not Barron. Because the guy's a good wee football player, but he just, to me, if Russell Martin is playing that,
is that barring certain circumstances? Stuart?
Oh. That's another one of your pathetic jokes at the top of my head there, mate. Sorry. Right. Anyway,
said not Barron, and I says Barron. No. Okay. Fair enough. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, to me, he slows the game down too much. Right. And also, with Raskin, Diamande, your boy Asgard, and the other boy Joe Rothwell. Where is he playing? Where is he fitting in there? He's probably not, is he?
Joke was that bad. I just want you to end the show. But there we go. 39 likes.
You killed
Carry
it.
on, Stuart.
Yeah, as I say, where is he going to fit into that midfield where they 4 names are just rattled off? Potentially he won't. Not consistently anyway, game in, game out. To me, he just slows it. It's Carl says he runs around, he's got hundreds of energy, but really, that's all he's got.
Mark, we've got 38 likes to get, so your answer better be worth 38 likes.
I hope so, because I'm going to fling a wee one across your bows here. Oh, no. I think he's probably won the cards in the bus in the way of the game. That's how he's been captain. Either that or it was his man's birthday or something. Because for me, and you can clip this, Joe Rothwell will be captain of Rangers. If Tav's not playing, I think Tav will be club captain. I think Rothwell will be Rangers captain. Or the other one, possibly Connor Cody if he comes. But for me, I think Rothwell will be the club captain.
You didn't elongate your answer very much, Mark, so we haven't made that magical
Sorry,
300.
But that's my thoughts on the matter. I don't. Barron's never going to be Rangers captain unless he, over the next 3 years, kicks on to become some sort of a super centre midfielder, which I would hope he would be, because that means we've got another brilliant midfielder in our books. But I think for me, I think he quite likes somebody that plays at that kind of sixth role, that central role, to be captain, that can see the whole game. And I think that for me, Rothwell's going to be the man. I think he's probably the elder statesman of the team, even though he's only 30 still. But I think that he's one that can dictate play, can create, can pretty much do everything in the middle of the park. Likes a tackle, tenacious. I think he's absolutely ideal to be Rangers captain.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It was just obviously a little bit, you're looking at it and it's a non-story, to be honest with you, right? But it was a question put. A captain in a pre-season friendly, I don't really think matters really that much. But you would be expecting it to be Raskin, and I think one of the last people you would be expecting to take the armband would be Connor Barron. But there we go. I'm giving a like for Stuart's colour coding. Stuart, that is tremendous colour coding, by the way.
I tell you what, that'd be absolutely fantastic if Donald spelt my name right.
I know, but that's the way Stuart should be spelt.
No, it shouldn't. No fresh in my family, right? So we've been that for a start. However, let me tell you about being the captain of Rangers. It's got to be this season, right? It's got to be one of the big guys. So it's going to be a Cody that comes in, or one of the big, powerful-looking guys. You know why? Because that SPFL trophy is massive and it's heavy. Wee Barron ain't carrying that. It's too heavy for him. That's why
Barry managed it.
Yeah?
Barry managed it. He's a short guy.
It wasn't as heavy back then, was it? Right? Because it's got more engraves on it now for the last time we bloody well picked it up, right?
Aye, none of it's yours apart from one.
Aye, so that's what we're talking about.
That's less heavy than if they're engraving, they're taking bits off it. So surely it's lighter.
We don't need semantics at the end of the show, right? We don't need any semantics at the end of the show. Folks, listen, thank you so much for all your support tonight. The super chats have been absolutely extraordinary. Thank you very much. 273 likes on a Monday night, 274 likes on a Monday night. I think, while the pod's been live, is a new record. So thank you so much to everybody. Calum, Stewart, spelled Stewart. And Mark, thank you very, very much. Stewart and East Kilbride's not going to be happy with you, Stewart. I'm telling you right now. There's going to be a battle of the Stewarts.
Yeah.
We are back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for your members' morning phone-in. If you want to join in on that live, then either join up to the YouTube or the Patreon memberships now. For as little as £1.99 per month, you can join in the morning phone-ins. And then we've got the afternoon rabble. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m, we have your weeknight members show. So, folks, go and enjoy the rest of your Monday. It's the school holidays, so I suppose we're all stuck in the house with the wains. I'm bored. Do you know my daughter, right? Literally about 2 hours after she finished school at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or whatever it was, I'm bored. I went, you've got 7 weeks. Don't start your shite, right? 7 weeks of this, right? But anyway, folks, have a very good night. I don't know why I'm rambling. Have a very good night. As I say, Calum, Stuart, Mark, thank you so much for your time tonight. And everybody, we shall speak very, very soon.